Hi folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for week ending July 28th. Supply is still an obstacle when it comes to price relief. A quick thank you to those of you that have used the Calendly link in the description. It's working out great. So if you want to have a chat with me, I want to make sure I'm available at a time that's convenient to you. So just book a time, hit the Calendly link in the description below, book a time that's convenient to you, and I'll make sure I'm available and we can have a one-on-one chat to talk about whatever's on your mind real estate wise. While I have you here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button below, hit the bell button so you're reminded when these videos come up. Today I'm talking about just the city of Toronto in this video, but I cover Vaughan, I cover Peel, I cover Durham, I cover all the GTA, I cover the luxury market all on different days. By hitting the subscribe and the bell button, you'll be reminded when these come up. So if you're just joining us, I'm a full-time realtor. Welcome to the channel. And just my experiences lately, a few weeks ago I was talking about how there's a bit of a lull, there's less properties having an offer date schedule, and there's less people showing up on offer date. In the last week or week and a half, I've seen that turn around. When I'm in the field with buyers and I'm talking to sellers, I can see the change. It's not, you know, shooting straight up, but it got a little bit quiet, and now we're seeing more and more properties having an offer date. That's my experience from being in the field with buyers and sellers every day. So let's get right into the market report. Here's the city of Toronto, just detached properties. We sold 169 detached properties last week for week ending July 28th. And that's down a little bit from the previous week. We were at 199. And 169 kind of feels like it's slow, especially when we see the 300s up here. But it's kind of normal, those sales, when we not compared to last year. I'll show you that in a second, but in the before we went into this health crisis, it's kind of normal. We're sitting at 169 sales at this time of year, which is typically a little bit more quiet. But the amount of properties selling at $2 million or more actually went up. Normally we'd see that kind of calming down a little bit also, but we sold 41 properties, 41 detached properties over $2 million, again in the city of Toronto. An average sold price has come down a little bit to $1,627,000. When we kind of look at things overall, you know, from the beginning of the year up to March, we peaked and then we've started to gradually come down. I mean, it has gone up and down, and when you're looking at the stats the way I am on a weekly basis, you can't base a decision on what happens one week versus the next. That would be a mistake. But we're trying to look at the overall trend. And if we look at just the last month and a half, average sold price seems to be kind of steady. And this is kind of, you know what, there's not a supply is an issue, and I'll get into that in a second. When we compare average sold price, now the orange is average sold price for this year, the blue is the same week 12 months ago. We're 7% higher than we were this time last year. And when we look at the sales, I mean, we sold so many more properties last year at this time, and last year was a record-breaking year for sales. 61% are selling at list price or more. And when we look at that 61%, like, there's just not a lot of relief there. There's some competition. It's not really coming down. 61% is a strong market when we look at the kind of competition and people paying either list price or bidding the price higher. Looking at listing, and here's where we really start to see where some of the pressures, the pressure's not so much on we're buying up all the inventory. The sales is kind of normal compared to previous years. However, we listed only 246 detached properties last week, and the active listings. Now, active listings is the amount of properties actually available for sale right at the end of the week. There's less than 1,000. I can't remember the last time we had less than 1,000 listings for sale in the city of Toronto. It's a big city. So the fact that listings are so low, this is a major culprit in not having any kind of price relief for those of you that are looking to buy. There's not a lot of properties available for sale. Looking at days on market, we're sitting at 1.3 days on, looking at months of inventory, we're sitting at 1.3 months of inventory. I said days on market because the average days on market for this week was 14 days, which is kind of low. It's not that high. 1.3 months of inventory is pretty steady, and that's why prices are kind of staying where they are. There's just not a lot of relief in prices. And I've got a prediction as to what's happening with prices. I'll tell you at the end of this video here. Now, if we break Toronto down, Toronto's a big place. If I just take it a little bit more, a little bit smaller territories here and break it down with Central, West, and East, well, Central's up here, average sold price went up a little bit, but for the East End and the West End, average sold price from one week to the next went down a little bit. Looking at the West for detached, months of inventory is still quite low, sitting at 1 month of inventory in the West. We sold 64. The days on market in the West is 12, so not a lot of time to think about properties there. 58% sold at list price or more, and even though sold price came down, we're still 8% higher than where we were at this time last year. Looking at the other side of Toronto, the east side, so East York and Scarborough area, we sold 62, days on market is 14, sold at list price or more is 74% of the property. So that's going to feel like almost every property out there is at list price or more. And we're 8% higher than we were versus last year's average sold price. And the Central is a completely different feel to the East and the West. East and West is kind of similar if you remember those stats there, but in the Central, months of inventory sitting at 2.6. Now the Central Toronto has the lion's share of the luxury property, so they kind of sit out in the market a little bit longer. So 2.6 months of inventory, average sold price went up a little bit, but very close to the previous week. We sold 43. Days on market's a bit higher than the East and the West, sitting at 19, and 47% sold at list price or more, so less than half, which kind of makes sense. There's days on market, properties are sitting out there longer. Months of inventory, 2.6, properties are sitting out there longer. Days on market is 19. Makes sense that you have a little bit more time to negotiate, but we're sitting at, as far as average sold price goes, 14% higher than we were sitting this time last year. If we take a closer look at semis, the average sold price for semis went up to $1,178,000. We sold 62 semis in the city of Toronto. Days on market is 11. Now keep in mind, 76% sold at list price or more. So you're thinking, well, you know, days on market 11, it's like a week and a half, or a little bit over a week and a half. Why? Well, days on market is, if there's an offer date, it's usually at least about a week in advance. And that kind of keeps the days on market around 11. If there was no offer dates and properties were all sold at first come, first serve, this days on market would be right down to 2 or 3 days on market. Like, properties are just going to be selling. But the fact that we have our offer dates and we're not choosing to sell right away, we're waiting for a week to collect all the offers, that kind of keeps the days on market a little bit higher. But we're sitting at 3% higher than we were last year's average sold price. Looking at townhouses, we sold only 19 townhouses. Not a lot of freehold townhouses being sold these days in the city of Toronto. Days on market is 12, but it's very competitive. 74% sold at list price or more, and the average sold price is 90% higher than it was last year. And average sold price has gone up quite a bit over the last few weeks to just under 1.3 million. I'm so excited to introduce you to our newest listing, 58 Warren Crescent. So many great features you're gonna love about this house. Let me start off with the generator. Now, this automatically turns on, powers the whole house. As soon as you walk in, you're gonna say, wow. It's open concept, you could see all the way to the back door. Wainscoting, crown molding everywhere. Designer paint and designer fixtures through the whole house. There's 3 great sized bedrooms. Now the second floor has smooth ceiling, pot lights, hardwood floors. All the closets have closet organizers. Now the finished basement has its own separate entrance. It's a 1-bedroom basement apartment. But I gotta tell you, the quality down here is the same as the rest of the house. You've got beautiful heated floors, lots of ceiling height, quartz counters, stainless steel appliances, there's plenty of room, plenty of storage, and a massive 1-bedroom with these sliding doors that open up all the way if you wanted to have completely open concept. And the last great feature, I am standing literally 3 minutes away from the front door by the Humber River. Plenty of space to run around and enjoy a lazy weekend. Let's take a real close look at condos. So sales have been pretty steady when it comes to condos. We sold 339 condos last week. 26 sold at $1 million or more. So look how steady this is. Sales is pretty steady, a little over 330. Selling at $2 million or more, selling at $1 million or more has been pretty steady over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And average sold price is also pretty steady. It's down by just a little bit, sitting at $712,000. And overall, the average sold price for condos looks like it's kind of been going up a little bit, but it's pretty steady. There's just not a lot of price relief there, not a lot of price relief in any of the segments really. Compared to last year's average sold price, we're 9% higher than we were this time last year when it comes to condos. And both last year and this year, we sold the same amount, over $1 million, 26 each time. Now, compared to last year, last year at this time, we were buying way more condos. However, 339 is very decent. 54% sold at list price or more. So there's some competition, but there's about half that you can take your time with, you can negotiate. So the market is pretty fair there. Listings though are way down. Here's again the culprit. Listings are really low when it comes to condos. 580 were listed last week, and it's like the lowest week that we've had here on the board, and I've got about 3 months, 3.5 months or so of data on the chart here. The blue is last year. For sure we were listing way more condos last year, but 580 is keeping active listings quite low, little over 2,300 active listings, and so that's taking the months of inventory down to 1.6. Not enough supply. 1.6 months of inventory, days on market is 19, average sold price pretty steady at a little bit over sitting at $712,000. Let's look at a summary here. So we look at months of inventory, and the numbers are all quite low. So a lot of you keep asking me, predict what's happening with the market. Nobody could really predict, and I know there's lots of people out there that are predicting. So here's my prediction. As long as months of inventory, now, barring Central, but as long as months of inventory are this low, there's not going to be any material price relief. There's not going to be any significant price relief. If you're looking to buy and you're looking to sell, there are opportunities. But understand, supply and demand. Demand is far outweighing supply right now, and that's why months of inventory is sitting the way it is. It's extremely low, very much a seller's market, and prices are just not looking like they're coming down. And we're in a tight market in August at a time when it's really a lot more calm. We're heading into the fall, which is again kind of like our second spring where things should be picking up again. So we're heading into the fall in a very tight market. I just don't see that there's much potential for price relief right now. So if you're looking to buy, there's opportunities. If you're looking to sell, there's also ways to really maximize, because prices are also not shooting up right now. But it's so important. I've said this before. You're working with a really good realtor that could help navigate the market to hit your buying or selling goals. That's so important. And those of you that don't believe me on that, it's because you've never worked with a really good realtor. My name is Santo Sessa with 3 Max Premier. Have a great day.